Your 70s, 80s, and beyond can be some of the most freeing years of your life. This isn't about slowing down. It's about living with more joy, more meaning, and more you in every day. It's about finally giving yourself permission to do things your way. In this video, we'll talk about how to embrace this chapter of life fully. How to say no without guilt, slow down without regret, and fill your days with what truly matters to you. Whether it's rediscovering old hobbies, traveling with curiosity, sharing your wisdom, or simply laughing more freely, this is your time to live on your own terms. So, let's start with something powerful, yet simple. Learning to say no without feeling guilty. Because your time, your energy, and your happiness are worth protecting. You've spent decades saying yes to family, to friends, to responsibilities. And that's beautiful. But now is the time to give yourself the same kindness you've given others. That starts with one simple but powerful word: no. Saying no doesn't mean you're being selfish. It means you're honoring your energy, your time, and your peace. Think of it like this. If your battery is running low, you wouldn't keep charging everyone else's devices while yours shuts down. You'd recharge first. Saying no is simply choosing you when you need to. Maybe you don't want to attend another crowded gathering, or you're tired of being the go-to person for favors that leave you drained. That's okay. You don't owe anyone a long explanation. Just a polite, firm, "I can't this time," or "that doesn't work for me." And here's the secret: the more you practice, the easier it gets. At first, you might feel a little guilty. That's normal. After all, you're used to putting others first. But guilt doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It just means you're breaking an old habit. And with time, you'll realize something wonderful. The people who truly care about you will still care, even when you set boundaries. So start small. Next time someone asks for something that doesn't light you up, pause, take a breath, and if your heart says no, let your words match it. You'll be amazed at how much lighter you feel when you stop carrying the weight of other people's expectations. Because here's the truth: you've earned this freedom. Now is your time to use it. Second, revel in a slower, more meaningful pace. Remember when life felt like one long to-do list? Work, errands, obligations, always rushing to the next thing. Well, here's something wonderful about this chapter of life. You get to press pause on all that hurry. You've earned the right to slow down and actually taste your coffee in the morning. To watch the birds outside your window without glancing at the clock. To have conversations that aren't squeezed between appointments. Slowing down isn't about doing less. It's about experiencing more. When you're not racing against time, you start noticing things you used to miss. The way sunlight filters through leaves in the afternoon. The comforting rhythm of kneading bread dough. The pleasure of sitting with an old friend, sharing stories without watching the clock. These small moments become big treasures. Try this: pick one thing you usually rush through, and tomorrow, do it slowly. Maybe it's your morning routine, or eating a meal, or walking to the mailbox. Notice how different it feels when you're not in a hurry. You might be surprised at how much joy you've been missing by moving too fast. Some people might say, "You're moving slower these days." But you know the truth: you're not slowing down, you're savoring. And that makes all the difference. After all, what's the point of all those years of experience if you don't take time to appreciate them? This slower pace lets you reconnect with what really matters. It gives you space to think, to remember, to simply be. And isn't T, that what we all wanted more of when life was at its busiest? Now you have it, so enjoy every unhurried moment. Third, indulge in hobbies without a care for perfection. Remember when you were a child and you draw or build or sing just for the sheer joy of it. No one judged your crooked lines or off-key notes. You were simply having fun. Well, guess what? That freedom never expired. In fact, now is the perfect time to reclaim it. So many of us spent our adult lives striving for perfection. At work, at home, in how we presented ourselves. But here's a little secret: perfection is overrated. What really matters is pleasure. That painting doesn't need to belong in a museum. It just needs to make you happy. Your garden doesn't require prize-winning roses if you prefer wildflowers. And if your knitting has a few extra loops, call it a design choice. This is your chance to play again. Always wanted to try watercolors, but worried you weren't good enough? Grab some brushes and let the colors mix however they please. Thought about learning the harmonica, but didn't want to bother the neighbors? Play anyway. They might just tap their feet along. The goal isn't mastery, it's delight. And don't be surprised if your imperfect hobbies bring unexpected gifts. Maybe your messy pottery class leads to new friendships. Perhaps your amateur bird watching reveals a hidden talent for identifying calls. Or it could simply give you quiet hours of contentment. And isn't that worth more than any trophy? So dust off that old guitar in the closet. Dig out the embroidery thread. Sign up for the community woodworking shop. Do it badly. Do it joyfully. Do it just because it makes your heart light. After all these years of meeting expectations, you've earned the right to create, just for the fun of it. Fourth, travel like a true explorer. You know what's wonderful about travel at this stage of life? It's not about checking landmarks off a list or rushing through crowded tourist spots anymore. Now, you get to travel like someone who understands that the real magic happens in the slow moments, the conversations with locals, the unexpected detours, the quiet mornings, watching a new place come to life. Think about the difference between skimming the first page of a book and settling in to savor every chapter. That's what travel can be like now. Maybe it's spending a whole week in one small village instead of racing through 3 cities. Maybe it's taking the train instead of flying, so you can watch the landscape change mile by mile. Or perhaps it's returning to that seaside town you loved decades ago, not to recreate the past, but to discover what's new and what endures. And here's something special at this age. You carry a lifetime of stories with you wherever you go. That means every new place becomes part of your ongoing conversation with the world. The young backpackers may have energy, but you have perspective. You notice how the light in Provence reminds you of that summer in New Mexico. You appreciate the patience of the Japanese tea ceremony master because you've learned the value of ritual. You not just seeing sights, you remaking connections. Don't worry if you can climb to the top of monuments anymore. Some of the best views come from sidewalk cafes where you can watch daily life unfold. Some of the richest experiences come from simple things: shopping at local markets, attending community events, or just sitting in a park and striking up conversations. This is travel without pressure, without schedules, without shoulds. It's about curiosity, not conquest. Every trip becomes your own personal discovery, no matter how near or far you roam. After all, exploration isn't about how many miles you cover, it's about how deeply you experience them. Fifth, becoming the family's wisdom keeper. There's a special kind of magic that happens when grandchildren gather around to hear your stories. It's not just about reminiscing, you repassing down something far more precious than any material inheritance. You re-giving them the gift of perspective, of knowing where they come from, of understanding life's ups and downs through your eyes. Think about all you've witnessed. Historical events that are now textbook chapters, cultural changes that younger generations can't imagine, personal triumphs and challenges that shaped your family's story. These aren't just memories, they reliving lessons. That time you weathered a financial storm teaches resilience. Those family recipes hold more than flavors. They carry traditions. Even the difficult chapters contain wisdom about perseverance and hope. You done to wait for formal occasions to share this treasure. It might happen while shelling peas on the back porch, during long car rides, or through the letters you write. Sometimes the most powerful lessons come wrapped in simple stories. Did I ever tell you about the summer we, or when I was your age, we used to? Technology can help bridge distances too. Recording video messages, creating digital photo albums with captions, or even starting a private family blog ensures your voice echoes for generations. But remember, wisdom isn't just about the past. Your perspective on current events, your reflections on modern life, your hard-earned insights about what truly matters, these are just as valuable. And here's something beautiful as you share your stories. You'll often find they come back to you with new meaning. The act of passing them down helps you see your own life with fresh appreciation. You're not just preserving history, you're recreating a living bridge between generations, one story at a time. Sixth, experimenting with style and self-expression. Remember when getting dressed meant following rules. Wear this for work, that for church, and certainly not that after a certain age. Well, here's your permission slip to toss out those old rule books. Your personal style at this stage of life isn't about following trends. It's about joy, comfort, and expressing who you truly are. There's something wonderfully liberating about dressing purely for yourself now. That bright color you always loved but thought was too much. Try it. Those comfortable shoes that might not win fashion awards but feel like walking on clouds. Wear them daily. That piece of jewelry your grandchildren made for you, let it be your signature accessory. Style after 70 isn't about aging gracefully, it's about living boldly. And it's not just clothes. It's your entire way of presenting yourself to the world. Maybe you've always wanted to grow your hair long, or finally go completely silver, or try that beard style you've been curious about for decades. Now's the time. Your appearance can reflect your inner spirit more than ever before, because you're no longer dressing to meet others' expectations. Some people might say, aren't you too old for that? But here's the truth. You're exactly the right age to wear what makes you happy. That vintage hat collection. Start wearing it to the grocery store. Those colorful socks that make you smile. Let them peek out from your trousers. Every morning, when you get dressed, ask yourself one simple question. Does this bring me joy? If the answer is yes, that's all the justification you need. This kind of self-expression does more than just make you look good. It makes you feel alive. When you look in the mirror and see someone who truly represents you, it's a powerful reminder that life isn't winding down. It's opening up in wonderful new ways. Your style isn't fading with age. It's finally coming into full bloom. Seventh, developing a deeper connection with nature. There's a special kind of peace that comes when you sit quietly in nature these days. Maybe you've noticed it, how the rustle of leaves sounds different now, how you can watch clouds drift by for what feels like hours, how the scent of rain on dry earth brings back memories you thought were long forgotten. This isn't just passing time. It's one of life's greatest gifts waiting to be unwrapped. You don't need to hike mountains to connect with nature anymore. Unless you want to. It's in the daily miracles we often overlook: the determined dandelion pushing through a sidewalk crack, the intricate spiderweb glistening with morning dew, the way sunlight dances across your kitchen table at different times of day. At this stage of life, you've developed the patience to truly see these wonders. Consider keeping a nature journal, not the scientific kind you might have made in school, but simply notes about what catches your attention. The first robin of spring, that particularly spectacular sunset, how the old oak tree in the park changes through the seasons. These small observations become a beautiful record of your relationship with the natural world. Gardening takes on new meaning too. It's no longer just about the harvest, but about the therapy of dirt under your fingernails, the satisfaction of nurturing life, the lessons plants teach us about resilience and renewal. Even if it's just a windowsill herb garden or a single potted flower, tending to something green keeps you connected to nature's rhythms. And here's something magical. The more you notice nature, the more it seems to notice you back. Birds might linger a little longer when you're outside. Trees you've admired for years start to feel like old friends. You begin to sense your place in the great web of life, not as someone passing through, but as someone who belongs. This connection costs nothing, requires no special equipment, and yet it enriches every day in ways that are both simple and profound. 8th, deepening spirituality and gratitude as the years accumulate. You may have noticed something beautiful happening. The small things start to shine brighter. That first sip of morning coffee tastes like a blessing. The sound of a loved one's laughter feels like a prayer. The quiet moments between activities become sacred spaces. This isn't just aging, it's your soul growing wiser, more attuned to life's deepest gifts. Spirituality at this stage isn't necessarily about more church services or longer meditation sessions. Though it can be, it's about recognizing the extraordinary in ordinary moments. When you wake up grateful simply for another day, that's spirituality. When you feel connected to something greater while watching leaves fall, that's spirituality. When you find yourself whispering, "Thank you" for no particular reason, that's your heart speaking its native language. Consider keeping a gratitude journal, but not like those rigid list 3 things daily exercises. Instead, let it be a living record of moments that touched you. The way sunlight hit your teacup, just so. The unexpected phone call from an old friend. The comfort of your favorite chair. Over time, you'll create a beautiful map of how grace moves through your daily life. You might also find yourself drawn to new spiritual practices, or returning to ones you set aside years ago. Maybe it's sitting with ancient scriptures that now speak to you differently. Perhaps it's walking through nature with mindful attention. It could be as simple as lighting a candle each evening and reflecting on the day's blessings. There's no wrong way to nourish your spirit, only what feels true for you. And here's the secret no one tells you. Gratitude and spirituality naturally deepen as we age, because we've lived through enough to recognize real miracles when we see them. That ache in your knees. It reminds you of all the miles those legs have carried you. The wrinkles around your eyes. They re souvenirs of a lifetime of smiles. Even the losses teach us how precious every moment truly is. This hard-won wisdom is perhaps life's greatest gift, the ability to appreciate what we once took for granted. Neneth, mentoring others, passing the torch of wisdom. That moment when a young neighbor pauses while you're retending your roses to ask, "How do you get yours to bloom like that?" That's not just gardening advice you re-giving. You replanting seeds of wisdom that might blossom in their life for years to come. This is the quiet power of mentoring. At this glorious stage of life, you've become a living library, and the world is hungry to check out your volumes. Think about Mrs. Henderson from my old neighborhood. Every Saturday, she'd sit on her porch with a pitcher of lemonade, and somehow, kids playing stickball would end up hearing stories about the Great Depression that taught them more about resilience than any school textbook. She didn't call it mentoring, she was just passing time, but those conversations shaped generations. That's the beautiful thing about your wisdom now. It flows most powerfully when you simply being yourself. Your mentoring might look like showing the new widow down the street how you navigated grief through gardening, teaching your granddaughter how to make your famous pound cake sex, and sharing the story of how you created the tough times, listening to that frustrated young father at the bus stop, and offering just one piece of hard-won parenting perspective, the volunteer interior to rid of the library and letting children see the world you measures in the way you are listed the word and remote the women was their altitude in the word that you are a moment where makes you worry though you when you tell the cashier at the grocery store, "You remind me of my daughter at your age," she learned that mistakes often lead to breakthroughs. You might be giving her the courage to keep going. Your stories carry medicine no pharmacy can dispense. What makes your mentoring so special now is how effortless it's become. You're not trying to impress anyone, you're simply sharing what life taught you. And here's the secret bonus. Every time you pass on a lesson, you understand it more deeply yourself. That advice about patience you gave the young mother, it circles back to remind you during your own frustrating moments. Don't underestimate the ripples you create. That teenager you taught to change a tire might become a mechanic who remembers your kindness for decades. The couple you advised during their rough patch might credit you at their golden anniversary. Your wisdom becomes part of the fabric of your community, woven into lives in ways you'll never fully see, but that make all the difference. 10th, laughing freely, loving fiercely, the art of emotional abundance. There's a particular kind of laughter that only comes after 70, the kind that starts as a chuckle over a grandchild's silly joke, builds into a wheeze when you catch your old friend's eye, and erupts into full-bodied joy that leaves you clutching your sides. This isn't just amusement. It is your soul doing its victory dance after outlasting life's storms. And the beautiful truth, the world needs your unapologetic joy now, more than ever. Consider how love transforms at this stage. It's less about dramatic gestures and more about the profound comfort of your hand finding your partner's under the restaurant table after 50 years, that silent, "I am still here." That says everything. It's in how you can love your difficult cousin without needing them to change. Because you've learned love is about acceptance, not perfection. Practical ways to amplify joy: create a silly file, save cartoons, funny photos, and memories that guarantee laughter. Pull it out on gloomy days. Start a love journal, not mushy poetry, just brief notes. March 12, Jean brought soup when I was sick. Felt loved. Reread it when you need warmth. Develop signature joy rituals. Maybe it's singing off key to oldies while cooking, or wearing mismatched socks on purpose, because it makes you smile. Your emotional freedom becomes revolutionary in a world obsessed with filters and facades. When you tear up at your great-granddaughter's ballet recital, you give others permission to feel deeply. When you giggle at your own forgetfulness, well, my glasses were on my head the whole time. 8. You dissolve embarrassment into connection. This fearless emotional living creates an invisible legacy. Your family will remember how you lived long after they forget specific words, how you threw back your head when you laughed, how your voice softened when you spoke of departed loved ones, how you never stopped reaching for hands to hold. These become their blueprint for authentic living. And here's the most beautiful paradox: the more you love and laugh openly, the more love and laughter circle back to you. That nursing home resident who starts grinning when you walk in, the cashier who brightens when she sees you coming. You've become a beacon of emotional freedom in a guarded world. Your willingness to feel deeply, with laughter lines and tear tracks, and all might be the most life-changing gift you ever give. Well, my friend, we've walked through quite a journey together, haven't we? From learning to say no without guilt to laughing with your whole heart, from sharing your stories to savoring life's simple moments. This isn't just about aging. It's about living fully and unapologetically in the way only you can. You've spent decades meeting expectations, raising families, building careers, caring for others. Now is your time. Time to wear the bright colors you love, to travel at your own pace, to pass on your hard-earned wisdom, or simply to sit in the garden and watch the birds without a single worry about what you should be doing. This chapter isn't about slowing down. It's about rising into the freedom you've earned. No more apologies for taking up space, for setting boundaries, for indulging in what brings you joy. The world needs your laughter, your stories, your love, and your unshakable presence. So go ahead, say no when you need to. Say yes to what lights you up. Paint badly, dance awkwardly, travel curiously, love fiercely. Let your years of experience be your compass, not your cage. Because here's the truth: the best isn't behind you. It's right here, right now, in every small moment you choose to embrace on your terms. Thank you for being here, for sharing this time together. Now go out there and shine, just as you are. The world is waiting for the magic only you can bring.